Yeah, it's a good point. Because when I first started the audiobooks, I was doing that one time speed because I'm left brain and I just feel like I was stuck in my ways. But I started increasing the speed, and when Locker Room was doing it three times, like that's crazy. But I can understand like your brain does start adapting, and it also helps you focus even more. So I do challenge, some of you that do want to take part in this to increase the speed, but also do it in a way that you can digest the information. My only criticism, well, I probably always have a lot of criticisms, but one of them was it's a little fast, but we also kind of did it like halfway through January to like start it off, but it was over a 3 month period. I typically like to kind of digest it, meaning that, take a step back, take some gold nuggets from that book, write them down. So then that way, like everybody has a different learning way. Also, even typing them out will also help you retain that information. And then, of course, applying it, practicing. You could read all the books you want on basketball, but it doesn't make you the next Kobe Bryant. So,
Yeah, and then it's typically too those books that you do are books that you pick, right? You pick the books. You can shortchange yourself and pick books that are short and simple, just for the sake of saying, yeah, I did a book. But we weren't doing that. He wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that. I was diving into Harvard's business reviews for emotional intelligence. I was diving into, the power of vulnerability. I'm talking about deep topics. Not just, oh yeah, this is really easy. Stuff that really challenges you to look internally. So we were just taking cookie cutter shortcuts, and we were diving into real books that had depth. And just for the record, for those who don't understand or believe that it's possible, I didn't get to three times speed overnight, right? I started off at one time speed. And then I was like, can I listen to this faster? Right? So I started listening to books faster. Then it was one and a half, then two, then 2.5, then 2.6. Some books, because it was really depth and very crucial information, I had to slow it down. But it was very humbling, right? So I had to take some books from three back down to two and then work my way back up on it because it was really hitting in ways that I didn't think it was going to hit. Yeah, I can acknowledge and say that perhaps maybe I was operating in some pride by having to be at three times speed. Like I could take this book, but then when I started listening to the principles and concepts and started realizing like I need to slow this down because these are very potent principles that could be very impactful to me because I apply everything that I listen to immediately, right? Because I that's just how I do it. Sometimes I go back, I might jot it down, or I might do a voice memo, or I might just stop and reflect. A lot of times after I finish like that book, I might do three or four books in a day. That car ride home for where am I going is quiet. There's no radio, there's nothing because all of that have been playing is playing back in my head. And I'm starting to see how I can apply it to what I'm doing with the business, what I'm doing in my relationships, what I'm doing with me, how I'm showing up for myself, and all of that. So it's really a time for retrospective, retrospection. So if you're going to do it, definitely let us know and don't take it lightly, right? Really lean all the way in and approach it with an open heart, openness, open mind, and have fun with it, right?
All right.
So
Now that Locker Room got his little book thing out, I wanted to go back full circle with the original question I had because I don't feel like we actually fully answered it for our listeners, which is what's the great divide in relationships with men and women? My take, since Locker Room was so generous with asking me what my take was on it, I think it's actually the unspoken truth within ourselves that we actually don't say to one another.
you gotta break that down for me. You say unspoken truth. Like, what do you
Right,
mean?
because we do live in a society where, um, how you were mentioning earlier, where people aren't accustomed to what people's expectations are. So, ladies out there that you go on a first date, you're already sizing us up. Are you marriage material? And your biological clock is ticking. That's the facts of life. Whether you want to have kids or not, I would assume that most of you do. But for guys, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of guys out there are thinking, "Oh wow, I can't wait to have a child right now." Let's, is that fair to say? Depending on where you're at in life.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say
All
like,
right.
yeah, yeah.
But I would say, guys, you have a ticking time clock that's probably on the cusp of maybe 10 years. That's a very small window according to the goals that you need when you think about it, especially if you're looking at a higher educated woman coming out of college. She's 22, probably not thinking about having a child at 22 or 23 yet right then and there, maybe, but you're wanting to, going back to the foundation that you want to establish. So it's there's a lot of time pressure, and that's what I mean by all the noise and the distractions that really it makes it really hard, I think, for men and women to have a successful relationship because there's the biological clock that guys and women are competing with, and then we're also competing with societal norms like the American dream. Do you guys know where that even came from? Do you know where it came from, that term, American dream?
Back I think that was back during what the I have two places, right? Um, at the onslaught of the return from World War, right? I think it was either the first one or the second one, or
Who
even
invented the term?
one of the Rockefellers.
No.
Uh,
National Association of Realtors. I kid you not.
oh
That's
wow.
who created the term, and everybody talks about I need to get a house. And it's like, and so talking to different generations as we have different listener of demographics and things like that, like I get it. Like I'm not, I'm not trying to be like some person where it's like, oh, you need to get out of your parents' home. Like a third of Gen Zs live with their parents still. Imagine what that also looks like. So when we talk about a great divide between men and women, I also have to be sensitive to different age groups here as well.
What
What woman wants to go and be like, "Oh, can't wait to see your I guess I get to see your parents because you still live with them." Right? And then we're talking about, "Oh yeah, we need to have a baby because my biological clock is ticking." Like, come on. Like we got a lot of problems that, you and I can't fix and we can just discuss and like, um just kind of bring to the surface, but I understand that there's a lot of problems, and that's why, we're doing this is to be a service to our listeners to be like, take a step back and realize there's a lot of noise going on. So if you're real serious about, having it, you know, the wife of the world and, the husband of the world, you really everybody needs to get their, front yard and backyard, in shape in order for you to think about even bringing kids into this world.
true. Very,
Because
very
basically, you
true.
guys, like again, no offense to the Gen Zs, the third of you out there still living with your parents, but it's like, how in the world are you going to be raising kids when you're still a kid and you're being with your parents? And again, I'm being sensitive about it too, because when I think back and, you know, you could technically, if you had a six-figure income, you could buy a six-figure home in Austin. Like that's crazy. Now, you could have a six-figure income, but you're probably going to be spending, half a million on the average home in Austin.
True.
It's so again, I'm being sensitive to that. So like I understand why Gen Zs still have to be, a third of them are living with their parents, but I'm also looking at the relationships and what is the great divide on why are these, goals and needs not being fulfilled? Because we don't have our own house in order. And then we also have to compete with the time and the distractions. So you guys need to also set the boundaries, going back to what you're talking about. You need to set boundaries with yourself, not only with the people around you, but how to achieve those goals. If you don't do those boundaries, like I don't answer my phone to, I hate to say it, to even my own family members sometimes because I got certain things that I need to accomplish. And I can't help out my family if I'm not accomplishing the things that I need to accomplish. Put the mask on yourself first before you try to help out everybody else.
I am right there with you. And it's like I know some of my family members might see this, and I love you. But what he just said is correct. Like what he just said is like there's times I will see that call coming through and I won't answer because either I'm doing something right now that I need to focus on and prioritize, or because I just have the gut instinct, discernment that that's not something, that's not a call I need to answer right now. Right? Especially if I know that there's a certain wind blowing from different topics that have been coming up, whether in the chats or whatever. It's like it's 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 all about for me right now protecting that peace, right? Not necessarily avoiding it because I don't avoid, right? It's about picking your battles. I am a very honest person. I'm a very truthful person. I call a spade a spade. And if I feel like I can't say something respectfully and still honor, I will not answer the call because I know where that conversation is going to go. I will much rather receive the correction for being transparently honest in my integrity, knowing that if you were to say something to me in that moment, I would have said something out of the truthfulness of who I am showing up, than to actually be there and pretend like I have nothing to say. So I know exactly what he's talking about, right? And it is going back to that whole airplane metaphor. Put on your mask first, because if you're out here choking, gasping for air, trying to help somebody, both of y'all about to die. you know? And it's not necessarily going back to what you're saying about the great divide, saying that things have to be perfect, right? Because things will never be perfect because the human nature is never enough, right? Human beings, people, we out here striving because we always want more. Oh, just a little bit more. Oh, a little bit more money. A little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. And that's where that contentment comes in. It's knowing that when you are in a place that, yeah, you are making the efforts, you are building. You might be working on getting your own place, but you want to have the relationship and you're figuring out how to have both. If you are able to do that, and you have the capacity to do that, to juggle that and not compromise. There's a lot of conditions that come with that, you guys. You have to consider all the variables. And then at some point, you have to stop being so strategic, so analytical, and just say, enough is enough. And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, right? And that means being secure with accepting the rough and the messy while you're still trying to be clean and shiny. So you have to get to a place to where you're willing to carry the load.
Yeah, I'd say peace though. I don't like that word contentment. Contentment just doesn't drive people to me. Like it doesn't feel like I have a fire underneath me. Like I live for a fire underneath me. Not that I want drama in my life. So for some of you ladies out there that I've talked to even, you all think that us guys like a little drama. No, we don't like drama. We're very simplistic creatures a lot of times. That's why we love a ball going back and forth, just like a dog. So yes, a lot of us I think are kind of like dogs in a way. We love praise, simplistic things, but I digress. What would you say are like the three top qualities that are something that, a woman should be looking for? And then what are three top qualities that a man should be looking for in a woman? So going back to what you're saying is like, yes, I think a lot of times I feel like, we strive for perfection, but that ends up like really stifling us. We, want to be perfect at everything, and then we end up don't doing anything at all. So regardless of whatever relationship you're in, what do you think those three qualities would have to be? If that man still, I don't know, he goes out of the house in Crocs, but he has everything together, what would those three qualities? Not to slam
Well,
some of you guys wearing Crocs, but please just don't leave the house in that. All right. If you're wanting a woman, I guarantee you she's
Croc
not
boy.
going to be. Women love shoes. So think about that, men. You better be leaving the house with some clean kicks. All right.
All right. Three characteristics that a woman.
Both a woman and a man should have in order for a successful relationship to stay strong.
The top three? My
Stay
God,
committed.
bro, that's not easy.
Well, relationships aren't easy, but I think that there needs to be like, you know, um, some ingredients, right? We need we
Gotcha.
we need the ingredients, and I think a lot of women are kicking themselves like they spent time with the wrong man, and I feel for them, and just like I feel for the men out there that I don't want to say wasted time because all of you out there should be looking at your failures as a learning experience.
Mm, mm.
Else.
This is what I will say. I will say this because these words encompass everything that I would say for characteristics, right? I'm gonna call them the three P's, right? The first one I would say is presence. A woman should look to see if a man has has carries and offers presence, right? Because that means that if he has presence, he's willing to show up just as he is. He's not trying to impress, and that means that he will bear vulnerability, transparency, and be exposed and be comfortable with it and know how to carry it, right? If he offers presence, he knows how to separate work from play and to prioritize, right? And if he gives presence, that means that he is trustworthy, right? He's giving something that can easily be destructive to him so that he can cater to you, right? So presence. The second right? thing is
Presence.
presence.
Like I'm being present, I'm listening.
Like
And
you're fully here. You're fully here.
what do you mean by the guy shows up however way he shows up? So, and the thing that I'm kind of like going back to that Crocs thing, because I know there's some of you out there, stop doing that. I know I don't even have a pair. I know they're comfortable. I'm not knocking them. Like, Dockers is a great stock out there. All right, I'll make a little plug, but I don't have any shares of them. I have them on a watch list though. But I'm just telling you, like, you should be putting yourself together the best version of yourself for your woman.
I'm not
Not
saying
I'm not saying like, and that should be who you are, is because not only do you want it for yourself, you want it for your woman. So don't go and let yourself, gosh, I got her now. Now I can just let myself go.
that's not what I'm talking about. That's not
All
what I'm
right.
talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. Especially me. It's like even when I'm not trying to put myself together, I still look somewhat put together because that's just my nature, right? You know, I try and have nice, clean clothes. Those clothes, I try and put them together in a way that represents me, right? But like some days, I'm not trying to be so put together. I'm just chilling, right? Presence. I'm fully showing up with integrity, right? I can dress. Some people may
And
say
I know that you can't like go to bed in a suit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like just make sure that you take not only pride in yourself, but you're taking pride in like that part, because I feel like a lot of times guys are hitting the gym a little bit more often, and I could be wrong, like maybe right before summer, like how how ladies out there will do that too. And, it's just a stressful time because more skin needs to be shown and all that. It's like, you should be doing that all the time. Not that you need to be showing skin all the time. I'm saying like, you just need to be about taking care of, your body and your mind. So then that way you can be the best person that you are for that person, that you're with. Same thing for ladies out there as well. I think a lot of times too, for those that also have kids, because we also have, this catered for families, women, like I understand like babies, they they're not a small person that comes out of you, and it takes time, and men need to be sensitive to that and to your bodies, and but it doesn't give you permission to just let yourself go because you had a baby. Like, you need to set an example for your children,
Bro,
still
you trying to
try.
have you trying to have all types of comments coming.
No, this is what we created this to help everyone out. And you may not like it, but you know what? Again, it's like exercise. I don't like leg day. Even though I preach it, I still do it, And I'm just saying that out there also for the future, for those kids. I can't tell you, it's like nails on the chalkboard when I see, little Timmy walking and he's like, and I'm talking about little Timmy is like 4 years old and he's pushing over 100 pounds. Like, that just seems like child abuse to me. And if some of you have out there, that should be a fire underneath you to set a better example. And I've looked at the studies and I've read the books on health and all that stuff too. And yes, there is a very, 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 very small percentage that has like, genetic disorders. And I will, set that aside. But I'm saying that's so, so small because you know how I know that? Because the parents behind them are just the same size. And I'm like, that was not a genetic thing. That was child abuse, like not eating right, not hitting the gym, not sleeping well, like all of that compounds. Sorry to talk about, I know that was one thing that you talked, but somehow that triggered me. So I just,
So, point of clarification, you guys, we're not body shaming anybody, right? That's not what we're talking about. The purpose here is to offer wonderful suggestions for profound health and wellness practices, right? And have a little bit of entertainment at the same time, right? If we can't laugh at our circumstances, then what's really going on, right? And I did not know that all of that was going to come out from me saying presence. My goodness. But I understand. I know what you're getting at, and I know that you're getting at, right?
I
And
just take pride. I mean, my thing is like, I feel like a lot of people are just not taking pride in themselves. And, that goes back to our country. We're here in America where we have a massive amount of debt. And it's like, look at how people spend money. And and I'm quoting Oprah loosely here. Look at how people spend money. And it's a reflection of how they take care of themselves.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. And for those of you all, it's like Captain Awesome does have nice legs, right? So he does do the work for the leg days, right? You see him in some shorts and stuff like
And
that.
I'm not perfect. And I know he's trying to like, compliment me and everything, and that's fine. And for all of you that are probably triggered again, your feelings are hurt, but take accountability. And I'm accountable. I've made tons of mistakes and I wish I could go back, but I've learned that peace is also found again living in the present and what I can do now. So I do share that with you. Like, I may not have been like always overweight, but I've had my own struggles like we all have. So again, yeah, I'm not here to body shame anybody, but I am going to call out and I'm not going to shy away from, if you know that you have an opportunity like we all do, take advantage of the opportunity, take advantage of the time, and get things right. Get your house in order. And again, I care about our future and I care about, the kids that you bring into this world just as much as you do about your own kids. And that's where my passions come from. It's not coming from a place of, body shaming and anything like that, because I'm not calling people names. I'm just calling out that we need to get our country and our world healthy mentally and physically. We need to stop living in this place of comfort and living in a place of like, I'm afraid of what they're going to say on, I don't care what you're going to say on social media. I got thick skin, it's like I have boundaries There's certain things that, you know, I don't really care about what 99% of the people in this world really has to say. I care about the 1% in my world that I look up to. And that's what everybody else should be thinking about. And I know a lot of people kind of get overwhelmed when we talk about body shaming on Instagram and things like that. And I feel for, the younger girls out there, and I know that we've come a long way where we've like taken the Photoshop away and just showing models like how they are rather than like taking out stretch marks and other like flaws of their body and things like that. And that's fine. But I'm not here to embrace an unhealthy lifestyle. And I'm
Hmm.
not going to do that. I'm not going to stand idly by for our children in our future to be like, oh, that's acceptable.
Hmm. No, I
So
agree.
you can put all the comments bad on whatever you want, but look at where I'm coming from and not look at so much about, I would say, think about more about where my purpose is coming from.
It's the principle you're talking about.
Right.
You're talking about the principle, and that's that's you hit it right on. You hit it dead on the nail. It's like it's the principle of being healthy. Not saying you can't do this or you can't do that. Be healthy in a way that promotes healthy habits, and that's exactly what you're talking
Like one of my goals, and I usually don't share my goals to complete strangers, but like one of mine is to be 100 years old. So there's like certain fitness goals out there that, everybody has like PRs, but and as crazy as it is, it's like not a lot of people do that. But I like to follow the short end of the sword where it's not very crowded, and I want to see what I can accomplish. And I can only do that by living the right life. And for those that are parents, it's like it just seems so selfish. And again, I know we have so much temptations. I swear, if I turn on a TV and within about 5 or 10 minutes, there'll probably be a food commercial. I know we're bombarded with ads right and left. But again, it all comes down to you and you making choices. And what choices do you want to make? Do you want to make the choice to self-satisfy yourself or be the better version of yourself for the children that you have in your life or the future children you have in your life? Because if you don't start now for those that actually don't have children, then it's going to be a harder habit to break when you do have children.
about. Mm-hmm. Yes.